21 years ago, in the year 2000, this was your bank account. Fast forward in the year 2021, this would have been your bank account. This is what could have happened if you invested at the peak of the dot-com bubble and held the shares till today. Let me repeat myself again. If you had invested in the index at the peak of the dot-com bubble in 2000, 1st January, and did absolutely nothing for 21 years, you would have tripled your money today. And I'm just taking a quick shortcut using the index to calculate this. I have not even taken in account to the dividend entitlements along the way. Indeed, the stock market is one of the world's most powerful wealth builder, and we need to harness its power. In this video, I will teach you how to start investing into the stock market. Coming right up. Step 1. Having an investment account. In order to buy stocks, you can't just go to the stock exchange and start shopping. They will not entertain you. You need a brokerage account, and your broker will buy the stocks on your behalf. These accounts are offered by companies such as Interactive Broker, Moomoo, and many others. Opening a brokerage account is typically a quick and painless process that only takes minutes. You can easily fund your brokerage account via EFT transfer, by mailing a check, or by wiring money. Opening a brokerage account is the easy part, but before doing so, you need to consider a few things. First, determine the type of brokerage account you need. For most people who are just trying to learn stock market investing, this means choosing between the standard brokerage account and an individual retirement account, which is known as IRA. Both account types will allow you to buy stocks, mutual funds, and ETF. The main considerations here are why you are investing in stocks and how easily you want to be able to access your money. If you want easy access to your money, or are just investing for a rainy day, or want to invest more than the annual IRA limit, you probably want a standard brokerage account. On the other hand, if your goal is to build up a retirement nest egg for your old age and wouldn't need to touch the money until your hair turn white, an IRA is a great way to go. These accounts come in two main varieties: traditional and Roth IRA, and there are some specialized types of IRAs for self-employed individuals and small business owners. IRAs are tax-advantaged place to buy stocks, but the downside is that it can be difficult to withdraw your money until you get much older. So that's why you need to decide on the type of account. Next up, you need to compare the cost and feature. The majority of online stockbrokers have very low trading commissions, so most, if not all, are on level playing field as far as the costs are concerned. However, there are some big differences. For example, some brokers offer customers a variety of educational tools, access to investment research, and other features that are especially useful for newer investors. Others offer the ability to trade on foreign stock exchange, and some have physical branch networks, which can be nice if you want face-to-face investment guidance. You also need to consider the user-friendliness and functionality of the broker's trading software. For me, besides the basic buy-sell function, I would like to have stop-loss sell orders so that I can automatically protect my profits and limit my losses. Some brokerage accounts are contract for difference, or CFDs for short. Please do not bother with them. CFD have some hidden charges. Just go for the plain, simple, direct market access accounts and you are good to go. Step number 2. Allocating funds. Once you have a brokerage account, let's move on to how you should allocate your funds. What funds do you have on hand? Are these emergency funds? Will you need them at a moment's notice? Do you need this money for grocery shopping next week? If they are, the stock market is not a good place to invest money that will be needed in the next 5 years. You should only invest money that you can afford to lose. While the stock market will almost likely increase in the long run, stock prices are simply too volatile in the near term. A 20% decline in a single year isn't unusual. During the COVID pandemic in 2020, stock market dived by more than 40% before rebounding to an all-time high in a matter of months. Just imagine your savings of 100,000 turning into 60,000. You should never put any emergency funds into the stock market. These are meant for emergencies. Put them into perhaps high interest saving accounts instead, where they are insured by FDIC up to $250,000. Your investable funds should only comprise of money that you don't need within the next 5 years. Let us now discuss on how to allocate them. A few factors come into play here. Your age is a major consideration. You also have to consider your individual risk appetite and investment objectives. Let's start with your age. The general idea is that as you get older, stocks gradually become a less desirable place to keep your money. If you are young, you have decades ahead of you to ride out any ups and downs in the market. If you are old and retired without any active income, you will be heavily reliant on your investment income and will not be able to ride out any financial crisis. As a quick rule of thumb to decide for asset allocation, take your age and subtract 110. This is the approximate percentage of your investable money that should be in stocks. This also includes unit trusts, mutual funds, and exchange-traded funds that are also made of stocks. The remainder should be in fixed income investments like bond or high-yield accounts. For example, let's say you are 30 years old. 110 minus 30 equals to 80. So by this calculation, it is suggested that you put 80% of your investable money into stocks with the 20% remaining into fixed income. This is only meant to be a rule of thumb guide. You can always adjust it later on. If you are more of a risk taker or planning to work past typical retirement age, you may want to shift this ratio in favor of stocks. On the other hand, if you don't like big fluctuations in your portfolio, you might want to decrease your exposure to stocks. You can then adjust this allocation up or down depending on your individual risk tolerance. Ask yourself if you can sleep well at night if your portfolio takes a 20% loss tomorrow. If you can put more of it into stocks. If you can't, it's better to scale back. Stressing over your stock investments to the extent that you lose sleep at night is not worth it. Step 3. Investing style. The style of investing is the next thing that we have to consider. Some investors choose to buy individual stocks, while others take a less active approach. You need to ask yourself what kind of person you are. Are you the type of person who likes to analyze stock, crunch numbers, and conduct your own research? If you are, you can invest into individual stocks. To invest into individual stocks, you need to spend the time and effort to well research and evaluate stocks on an ongoing basis. If you are willing, I 100% encourage you to do so. If you can beat the market if you put in the effort, it is entirely possible for a smart and patient individual investor to beat the market over time. I do it myself and it has rewarded me very well. Even though it's tedious work and requires a lot of knowledge, I enjoy the process and don't regard it as work. If you hate math, don't like to do homework, or you are a busy professional and don't have time to learn how to analyze stocks, no worries. If you are lazy, if you are busy, you can still participate. You can sit around doing absolutely nothing and yet earn decent returns. You can take on a passive approach. What do I mean by passive approach? You can choose to invest in index funds, which tracks the stock index like the S&P 500. An index fund is a wide basket of the world's best companies. The stocks have already been pre-picked for you. If you buy a basket containing the world's best company, then you don't have to do any picking or analyze anything. No research is required. No stock analysis is needed. If you buy a basket of everything, you don't have to choose anything. Index funds typically have significantly lower costs and are almost guaranteed to match the long-term performance of their underlying indexes. Over time, the S&P 500 has produced total returns of about 10% annualized, and performance like this can build substantial wealth over time. If you work in your day job and sit around doing nothing, you will not get paid and your boss is going to fire you. But in the stock market, it's quite the opposite. You are the boss here. You can sit around, twiddle your thumb, and the stock market still pays you. How ironic. Step 4. Picking individual stocks. If you have chosen to go down the more adventurous path and decided to pick individual stocks, there are many things that you need to know. Of course, I can't teach you everything in a single video. That will require a whole MBA course. There are infinite considerations when picking a stock, but here are some quick important points to take note. Diversify your portfolio. You should have a variety of different types of company in your portfolio. If you have all your funds in only 2 stocks, and if one of those stocks turn out to be bad, you can lose half your fortune. That is really dangerous. Therefore, split your funds into at least 5 different companies. If you can, spread it over 20 different companies. Invest only in businesses you understand. How does a business bring value to mankind? Does it solve any problem? If you have no idea how the business works, it's better to stay out. Avoid high volatility stocks until you get the hang of investing. If the stock has already run out 50%, don't chase it. What goes up fast usually also comes down fast eventually. Avoid penny and small cap stocks if you are new. Although small companies can bring a lot of returns, their business risk is much higher than well-established big companies. Once you are more experienced, this is actually a great strategy to consider. Invest with a margin of safety. Buy cheap stocks that are going for a discount. Stocks can go on discount due to certain events that may happen. These events may only temporarily affect the stock price. Once the event has passed, the company can recover and life goes on as usual. This has been proven time and time, many times over the history of the stock market. I will post more video on how you can find cheap stocks, so be sure to watch it when it's out. Step 5. Stay vested. As I said in the beginning of the video, you can sit around doing nothing and get paid by the stock market. Sitting around doing nothing is one of the easiest and hardest part of investing. I'm sure many of you know Warren Buffett as one of the greatest investors that has ever lived. One of his biggest secrets is that when investing, you do not need to perform extraordinary things to get extraordinary results. The most surefire way to make money in the stock market is to buy shares of great businesses at a reasonable price and hold on to the shares for as long as the business remains great or until you need the money. You experience some volatility along the way, but over time, you are likely to produce excellent investment results. Agree or disagree with my video? Subscribe, leave a like and comment down below. I will see you in the next video.